So I found this YouTube channel, and it's just this black dude that, hold on, let me find it. He listens to like just stereotypical white guy music that he's never heard before for the first time, and like films his reaction, like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and shit. Dude, it is so fucking funny.
What's it called?
Jamel, aka Jamal. JAMEL _ AKA _ Jamal.
Okay.
And it is.
You did a deep dive on this?
Yes, it is so fucking funny. If he has a Patreon, I might give to it.
What were you watching? What was your white person music you were watching him critique?
I went through a lot of it. And
do you remember which one, and any one in particular that was your favorite?
He did a few Grateful Dead ones, but I think my favorite one was
Foreigner Feels Like the First Time. Looks like that one might be funny.
Yeah, I mean, they're all funny. They're all fucking hilarious. What was it?
Into the Mystic, Van Morrison.
Yeah, that was a good one. I've watched him do that one. All of the like Hall & Oates stuff is really funny.
That was my first guess. That was my instinct on what type of stuff would be his go-to. He must have ran out.
Like, he's done so many of them. Oh, the Allman Brothers stuff is really good. Him listening to the Allman Brothers is hilarious. He does whipping posts by the Allman Brothers, and I was like, oh shit.
Tied to the whipping post.
But yeah, I'm not sure what it is about my YouTube algorithm or the way that I've interacted with YouTube to make the algorithm think that this is exactly what I wanted, but it was right. I didn't even know I wanted this.
But you did so bad.
I did. All I want is a super, like, personable and, like, he's like real positive. I've never heard him say anything, like, negative. He's, like, really upbeat. Like, watching his videos makes me happy.
That's good. So is he really analyzing it and breaking it down then?
He's listening to it, tells you what he thinks. Sometimes he'll be like, you know what, I think I've heard this, like at a mall in like a changing room, but I didn't know what it was.
Well, I will check it out. We might.
When I showed Sagan that, she was like, I'm not sure the way you like this is okay. Like
Is it the cultural entertainment that she was questioning?
yeah, like yeah.
Let's check
It's
it out.
not like
I think you'll
I'm
actually be able
making
to hear the audio this time. Can you hear this?
no.
You can't?
You have Zoom muted.
Oh. Let's see what happens. Hang on just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll check it out next time.
Yeah, I mean that's just a recommendation for your free time.
I'll look into it for sure.
I killed a
Uh,
lot of time. I like how weird he thinks David Bowie is.
I think there's a consensus on that actually.
He's like, this motherfucker's weird. I like it.
Yeah, that's well known. I know Labyrinth was the first time I ever saw David Bowie, and that was definitely an odd introduction. You know, I didn't listen. My parents weren't like big Bowie fans growing up.
Yeah.
It was just out. They were just outside the sweet spot for like late '70s cocaine raves, so they didn't get into it. But Labyrinth, dude,
Yeah.
him and Tim
Labyrinth.
Curry.
I mean, I knew who David Bowie was before Labyrinth, but Labyrinth was I've got a good Labyrinth story. I used to in high school I had a girlfriend who loved Labyrinth. Like it was like her favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like her favorite film. And she told me once that Labyrinth was her sexual awakening. Um,
Really?
yeah, she was like laying down, watching Labyrinth, humping a pillow or some shit,
I wonder if it was
and
to
came for the first time.
Tom Cruise, David Bowie, or Tim Curry.
It's definitely David Bowie. She liked the bulge.
I was thinking Tim Curry with all those muscles, that muscly Satan creature.
Yeah, ew. I was more into the doorknob, the talking doorknob.
That was what got you off.
Yeah.
That was what got me going. I would go to work on a pillow anytime I saw a doorknob. I would try to
Yeah.
leave my room and I would become overwhelmed with sexual frustration. I would run back to the bed.
I would love a talking
I was
doorknob
trapped
though.
for months.
If like in a non-sexual way. Just a talking doorknob, way better than a Ring camera.
See, I think you're just thinking about a mouth on a doorknob.
Like a glory hole.
Yeah. On a doorknob, though. It's like a whole new technology.
Dude, in
You know?
Canada right now, like the government's like, hey, if you guys want to be fucking, you guys need to use a glory hole.
They approve glory holes in Canada?
Yeah. I don't want to Google it. Hold on. Let me go to incognito window because I might not find exactly what I'm looking for here.
You just gotta
Canada.
phrase it the right way. You can't say, "Hey, is it legal yet to glory hole up in Canada?" I've
Okay.
been trying.
Global News Canada. Here's the Miami Herald. Uh, Canadian government suggested use barriers like walls, example, glory hole, that or glory holes that allow for sexual contact but prevent close face-to-face contact. That is straight up a quote from like the Canadian health minister.
That was on TMZ. Did you get that one from?
Miami Herald, which is
Okay.
a decent paper.
It's saying also that a lot of people are going back to glory holes. You know,
Here, I'm going to send you the link to this. I actually found the British Columbia Center for Disease Control's official website has a, this is insane, uh, has a whole thing about glory holes.
well, it makes sense because you're not your only mouth or orifice to sexual organ. You're not There's not a lot of kissing. They're saying this is exchanged, mouth and nose to eyes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And glory
On
hole,
Zencaster, I just gave you the link to the Canadian uh, Center for Disease or
yeah,
whatever. What is it?
that's what I'm kind of reading. That's what they're talking about on here.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Oh,
it's just
and the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene.
yeah. So it's a Northeast movement because of the overpopulation in that region. I'm betting, even though BC is actually on the other side, uh,
Yeah.
but those dense population areas, everyone's real horny right now and they're all trapped inside and they're tired of Pornhub. So they're
Hmm.
out there going crazy and the government's like, we need you guys to get this under control and use glory holes like reasonable people, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Researchers have detected the virus in semen, but
Oh
haven't
shit.
established if it can be transmitted by seminal fluid.
They can just detect it.
Yet, if people are going to continue having sex with strangers, as public health officials have ample reason to believe, glory holes may be among the safer venues.
Sean's wifey just came home with some groceries and she's overhearing this because we're on headphones and she is intrigued. I'm sure everybody
She's
out there is
only
too.
hearing my side of the conversation,
That's what I'm
and she's
saying.
like,
Yeah.
"Why is my yes,
Yeah. Glory holes are coming back. It's a comeback.
Jesus,
Wow. They really go into the history on this.
that is a long article."
It is. They did a deep dive into that glory hole.
Who wrote this? What's the guy's name?
Let's see. Oops. Anthony
Anthony DeMauro.
DeMauro.
That poor bastard. He works for Slate, and he's like, "This is awesome. This is like one
He
of the
was
last
he would
real
take his notepad
journalism
into the
jobs in
bathroom.
America." And
He
they're
would
like,
take
"All
his
right."
he'd have the little glory hole there and he would take his notepad into the bathrooms and he'd be like guys, nothing through the hole right now. I'm trying to talk in here, but so what's the daily like in here? And I imagine him with a tiny pad just like right up on that hole, trying
Oh
to
yeah,
peek
yeah.
in
Like
there and see what the
with his
world's really
eyeball
about.
up here.
Yeah, he's an investigative journalist. He's trying to get in there,
He's
trying
like,
to
"Are you
see what
willing
it's
to
all
go on
about.
record?" And everyone's like, "Sir, that's like the anonymity is the point of this."
They're like, Tony, quit putting your camera through the hole. There's rules around here.
Yeah, that is a
Etiquette.
big glory hole no. Dude, I would never stick my dick in a hole that I can't see the other side of.
What about a woman?
Oh, well, okay. Got me there.
You just don't. I guess you don't think of women as holes.
Yeah, I don't. It's actually pretty.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Actually,
That is a whole subsection of man right now. Like the men's, they usually are like complaining about how family court is unfair. And this hole's got my kids.
they don't read Slate magazine. I'll say that.
No, I imagine they don't. And if they do, it's definitely not. They don't go as far as like the human interest pieces.
Like, no, I'll read Slut magazine.
It's jugs at my house and National Geographic, but only the pictures and if they're jugs.
Yeah. And recently, yeah, I've looked into describing to slut. So yeah, I've heard of it.
Man,
So not to jump away from this, but one of the things that we were gonna talk about today, and we'll probably bounce around and not talk about it much, but it was
yeah,
gonna
let's get into
be
it.
this
Glory holes. I think we've spent enough time on that.
this case. We'll talk about the facts, and maybe the glory holes will come back up. But what was going on was on August 19th, there was a case, and it came up in an article on Law 360 that we saw, where an Oklahoma marijuana grower sues a processor over unpaid $3.2 million, covering
Looks like
4,400 pounds of frozen flour.
Curl
And
Creek Cannabis LLC versus Helix Extract.
yeah, and we'll pull up.
Can you look it up on LexisNexis?
Here's the petition. So,
nice.
just to take you through the facts. So, last fall, a representative of CCC, which is Curl Creek Cannabis LLC, met with Helix to discuss potential contracts for the sale of harvested medical marijuana to Helix by Curl Creek Cannabis. And they have an outdoor grow. You know, they're the grower, and you can just think of them as the grower and the processor. But it took place in an office in Broken Arrow, and they provided lab reports from the grow showing THC percentages from the crop. They then entered into an express agreement, which we'll look at, whereby the grower would sell marijuana in fresh frozen flower form to Helix in frozen package form in consideration for payment based upon the compensation formula. And this is kind of complex. You know, it goes over how they're going to compensate them. And you can pull that up on OSCN, which is the Oklahoma Supreme Court Network, and pull up the case number if you'd like. I won't go into all that. I just wanted to kind of go over the facts.
Yeah, the initial complaint.
Yeah, but the Helix was the one that set forth the compensation formula. And
Yes.
at the time of the meeting, of the making of the agreement, Helix provided this formula based upon a delivery amount of 5,000 pounds of flour, with a compensation to the grower in the amount of 3.6 million, but the final amount would depend upon the actual pounds, right?
Yeah,
So
3.6 is for 5,000 pounds,
yeah,
and they prorated it when they brought him 4,400 instead.
exactly. And promised payment would be made within 2 months of delivery and would be before the end of 2019.
Damn.
Right. And
To be fair, after I didn't get payment for the first literal ton of marijuana I brought to these people, I probably wouldn't have brought them another.
right. And this is the petition. So it was written by the unpaid people.
Yes, Mr. Chafin, the complainant.
No, Chafin's the defendant. Curl Creek is the grower.
I thought, okay, yeah.
Just to know whose opinion this is kind of in favor of. And they were saying basically that Chafin made the compensation formula with the intent to fraudulently, we were talking about this earlier today, fraudulently induce the plaintiff into providing thousands of pounds of fresh frozen flour to Helix for the benefit of Chafin and Helix, knowing that defendant never intended to pay plaintiff as promised, which is a bold statement.
That is insane. I mean, they've been selling those Helix cards like fucking hotcakes. So he's got the money coming in.
You'd think so. On October 4th, and on one more day, approximately 1 week later, pursuant to the agreement between parties, Helix picked up a total of 4,400 pounds of fresh frozen flour from the grower in a refrigerated truck in consideration for an expectation of payment based upon the compensation formula. Based upon the agreed upon compensation formula and the delivery of 4,400 pounds, Helix then owed the grower
3.2 million.
Helix owed and CC, the grower was entitled to 3.2 million, which is where they got that figure from, the article's heading title.
Yeah.
And it says, based upon the information and belief, the product from the grower was processed by Helix and sold. However, Helix has failed and refused to pay CC, the grower, what it was owed. As a result of their breach of contract and their fraudulent misrepresentations, the grower suffered actual, incidental, and consequential damages due to the loss of funds. The grower has been unable to plant a new replacement crop of the same size. As a result, the grower has and will continue to suffer additional damages from the inability to make money on a new crop of the same size or larger.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
yeah, so they're claiming actual damages, which is the amount that they were promised in the contract, incidental and consequential damages, which are those things directly and indirectly resulting from the actual damage. And that's what they're
And
talking about
and
in
in
the
that case,
unplanted
the
crops.
jury or a judge would tell you how much that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, those amounts are a question of fact usually that uh, if you get a jury, the jury would determine the amount, or if you just had a bench trial, the judge might decide. But um, yeah, it's wild. It's crazy that they just didn't pay.
I mean, that's absolutely insane. It's a really shitbag business model, but unfortunately, like a lot of people do that, man. Like Roy, Sega and I just watched this really interesting documentary about Roy Cohn, who's just a ghoul of an attorney. He, represented Nixon and people like that. And his big thing was he never paid an invoice. He just like would not pay his bills. Like he would go to a restaurant and dine and dash every night, basically, and be like, put it on my tab. And they knew full well he was never going to pay them. I can't hear you, Carter.
I said that's crazy that people do that. Sorry about that. I muted myself.
Yeah, it makes me think of that piano salesman. He owned a music store in Atlantic City, and he um, sold all of these Steinway grand concert pianos to the Trump Hotel and Casino in Atlantic
Mm-hmm.
City when they were building it, and then Trump just like never paid him. And his model is he's like, all right, then sue me, and he'll settle for like way less than he owes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Just to
really,
avoid having to pay the legal fees to take him to court.
yeah, it's a really scummy move, but it's, I mean, in the system, we've got set up, it's doable. It looks like. So we'll see how this goes for them.
Yeah. And with his stuff, a lot of the times he's licensing his name. So he's kind
Yeah.
of insulated.
Well, this was before he started licensing his name. This is like back in the late '80s when he was trying to.
Before his first or second or third bankruptcy.
Yeah, this is one of his first How you bankrupt a casino, I'll never know, but he managed to do it once or twice.
If nobody goes there, I think that's the key.
No, it's because he's a corporate raider, dude. You just like go into a place and you leech out extract as much value from it as you can for your own pockets, and then just like let the chips fall as they may. Kind of what like the American ruling class is doing to our country right now.
Yes. 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 So we can go through the claims if you want to on here.
I'd
There's
love to.
4 claims and then a prayer for relief. And first one is the breach of contract claim, saying that they're owed that $3.2 million for the 4,400 pounds of flour.
Mm-hmm.
So the defendant made one $30,000 payment, and that's it. And this thing at the bottom where it's saying plaintiff's entitled to an award of damages in an amount that exceeds $75,000 together with interest and costs and attorney's fees is like a court limit demand type of deal.
Yeah.
They'll have it on every claim. And unjust enrichment is basically an equitable claim on contract, saying that they're not only is the grower owed money, but the processor was unjustly enriched because of the transaction and made money that should then be captured into a constructive trust and held in order to be paid out in
Yeah.
they should be
When there's a judgment.
divested of that
Yeah.
unjust enrichment. So that's what they're
Nice.
talking about here. And if they're throwing it out there because there might not be anything, but basically if they're making money off of something they shouldn't have been making money off of, that's what that claims for.
I mean, worst case scenario, a lab is worth a ton of money once you piece it out.
Right? Take the Trump approach.
Well, I mean, like, just take his goddamn business. If someone owes you $3.2 million, like, get whatever equity you can.
Yeah, it looked like he had a few businesses.
Yes. So
Who's the
we're not sure
concussive?
that's that person, so we probably shouldn't mention any names.
Right? We
So
were
he
trying
was
to
a
find a
lawyer.
picture to figure out who it was online, and we couldn't find anything. So may have wiped the social media footprint after all this stuff came up.
If I knowingly owed someone a few $1,000,000, I'd want to delete my Facebook as well.
You wouldn't be doing face shots and like public appearances
No,
and stuff.
I probably wouldn't have a Twitch stream or anything. It's like, all right, guys, tonight we're gonna be playing some old school. First Doom. Like, no one wants to watch that. That makes me nauseated. I don't understand how people sit for hours and watch people play video games. Hot take.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. The only time I've ever done it is if I was playing a game and I got stuck or something like that. Rather than go
Yeah,
read a walkthrough, I'll go watch the video of them during that part of their
yeah.
like replay and just figure out how to do that real quick and then get out of it. But
They're really pushing
uh,
esports super hard right now. And I'm like, no, ew.
I I think it's kind of cool. I think that it's cool that they're doing that. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, it allows people to make money off of that type of hand-eye coordination that wasn't being valued, but is very valuable right now in the age
it's
of
it's highly
like remote
valued. Go
control.
go blow up Pakistani elementary schools for the drone program.
That's what I'm saying is that it has a lot of value, but it hasn't been valued in the past.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Become an F1 racer.
Right? There's always something you can do.
I mean,
But that mean you'd have to go outside. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
that's
they're
not a
really
gamer's life.
there's just not a ton of value in it. I don't know. I don't own a gaming console, so and haven't for a long time. I think the last console I owned was like I had the original Xbox, like the first
Mm-hmm.
one, and I had all of the Nintendos up to the Wii.
Have you thought about getting a system?
Yeah, I tried to buy a Nintendo Switch right before quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
and they were sold out. I could not find one. I got a Raspberry Pi, and I built a emulator for it. Or I mean, I downloaded an emulator and built this Raspberry Pi and installed this software and ran it as
What is a
a.
Raspberry Pi? You keep saying that. What is that?
It's a tiny computer, like a hobbyist computer that you can build. They're seriously like this this big. I'll show it to you. Oh no,
Gotcha.
I'd have to go into the living room to get it.
You're good. You're good.
But basically,
So
it's like a little computer you build, and I could play like Sega games on it. It was fun.
nice. The third claim here is for the constructive relief or the constructive trust and accounting, like what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And
So
it's just
take the assets or money, put it aside, wait for a judgment, hopefully get that money.
yeah. So you have two types of remedies generally: your equitable remedies and your legal remedies. Your legal remedies are usually like actual cost, like money,
Yeah.
and your equitable remedies are things like saying that you should or shouldn't do things, or saying that true ownership lies a certain way because it would be the equitable way for it to be held, or certain funds should be placed in certain ways because that's the equitable way that it should be done.
And what's the fourth claim?
Fraud.
Oh shit. We talked about this earlier.
Mm-hmm. So it says, as set forth specifically in paragraph 5 through 7, which I talked about earlier in the facts, Chafin intentionally or recklessly made material representations to the grower regarding the compensation formula and amounts that plaintiff would be paid and when plaintiff would be paid that were false because Chafin knew Helix would never honor such inducements. So that's first part. Chafin made such material misrepresentations on behalf of himself and Helix with the intention that they should be acted upon by plaintiff, thereby inducing plaintiff to provide product to Helix instead of a different processor.
Mm.
Plaintiff then acted in reliance upon defendant's material misrepresentation and has been injured as a result. Then on top of that, they say defendants acted with reckless disregard of the rights of plaintiff and or acted intentionally and with malice towards plaintiff. And the 32 through 34 are the elements of fraud, and 35 is setting out the additional penalty, trying to get additional damages, saying that they're going to increase the intent level. So like these ones are basically setting out, these are the four elements really of fraud, saying that it was an intentional statement, intentional or reckless. They made, and it was a material misrepresentation.
Damn.
Knowing that they would never honor such inducements. And then second element, the material misrepresentation was made with the intention that they should be acted upon. That's the other part of it, thereby inducing plaintiff to act. So that's that other part I was talking about. So you got the intent part, you got that you forced them to do it by deceiving them, and then the last part is they relied upon that material representation and it caused an injury as a result. So that's kind of the causation part at the end, and then the actual harm.
Man, I would hate to be this dude. Either of them, really.
Right, it's a tough spot. So then they ask for money. Give me money. Give me money. Yeah, and here's the agreement.
Damn, is that on a bar napkin?
Looks like a notepad, but that's about the level of formality.
Damn.
It says 5K lbs of biomass, average of 10.8%. 10K times 10.8% equals 540 pounds of concentrate.
5K.
540 pounds of concentrate times 454 grams equals 245,160 grams of concentrate. 60% of which would be 147,096 grams times the $25 gross would equal 3.677 million. And that's how we got that original amount for the 5,000 pounds. Man. And that was what the whole case hinged on and what their whole business was based on, which is crazy.
That's
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see any signatures on that.
On what?
On
that. This is just the on the contract here.
Yeah.
No.
Something tells me they didn't have a notary where they were at.
Fortunately, they're not arguing about who wrote it or whether. And we'll see. We haven't seen the response yet. Right now,
he just got served like less than a month ago.
Yeah, successfully served on 9/4, and an entry of appearance pro se was done.
God, he's representing himself
yesterday. It's funny the way that it's written on here. It says Tay Paul, but the way I first read it, I thought it said Pay Paul.
Yeah.
and then application for leave to file amicus curiae brief requesting the court declare the Controlled Substances Act unconstitutional prior to adjudicating merits on the case.
Okay, so
I
he's
wonder how that's going to
actually
go.
a lawyer?
Who?
Who's Paul Tay?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can pull up Paul Tay.
Oh no, he's the
Surely
psycho that
not.
ran for governor. No way in fuck is that him.
No. Well, I don't know. We'll see. That may be a common name.
Or no,
Is
he
he an
ran for
attorney?
mayor. Oh my dude, that is totally him.
Is he an
He's the
attorney?
crazy Asian dude in a cowboy hat that ran for Tulsa mayor last year. Or
What's
in
wrong with having a
2016.
cowboy hat on?
Dude, listen to some of the things he said during that mayoral race.
Hang on. So I'm trying to read this. Tell me about it. I'm trying to find if he's an attorney.
Sounds like he is.
Where are you seeing that?
No, I'm not actually. Go to his Ballotpedia page.
U.S. Senate, Mayor of Tulsa. He's got ambitions. What's wrong with that? See, I think you're just being a hater.
No, definitely not.
Hater,
I am not being a hater. I promise you.
I think you're just not being supportive. I think I'm not getting much info
He
here.
got 952 votes, man. That's how crazy he was.
That's impressive. There's Dewey.
Yeah.
And
So is our friend the third, or
in
did
a
our
distant
friend run for
second.
mayor?
I think that's him.
No, Dewey. That's his dad.
Oh no, you're right. He's the third. You're right. Yeah. See, I feel like
our fraternity brother right there.
they don't have a lot of credentials. Yeah, we're older than you think. We have young voices, youthful voices. They don't have a lot of information on his background. He needs to update his Ballotpedia page.
I remember watching the debate and being like, who let this homeless cowboy wander up on stage and start saying crazy shit?
Oh, that's not nice. He seems well dressed. Well, he's a hunter, you know?
Yeah, he did something where he's like carrying a gun around. I remember being like, ooh.
Interesting. Well, his name's on the case. I don't know why. That's
awesome.
why we brought it up. We don't know if it's the same Paul Tay or not.
Let me find the Lost Ogle.
It's I'm sure there's a few Paul Tays.
There we go. Duct tape wielding man in cowboy hat hysterically interrupts Tulsa mayoral debate.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yes. Apparently, Tulsa is electing a new mayor. We know
I didn't hear
because Rogers State University held a debate last night.
I didn't hear it say attorney Paul Tay.
No, they did not. But I mean,
I'm not seeing his name on here.
I'm looking. Yeah, maybe he's not. He says he's representing himself pro se, so maybe he's not an attorney.
I know, that's what I thought. That's why I was wondering where the name came from. Then I was looking to see if maybe he was representing Helix or something.
You can get a non-attorney to represent you in court?
I don't know. I didn't look.
I thought it was illegal to practice law without a license.
I mean, if you're just being, I haven't looked into it. I will look into it. That's interesting for next time. But I would think that because if you're representing yourself pro se, you're not an attorney and you're allowed to bring your case. So if you had someone sign as like an agent, as your agent to act on your behalf for your pro se, maybe that's the only thing I can think of, but I don't know. I'll look into it. Surely that's not it. I'm sure he's connected some other. Maybe he's the judge. Maybe he ran for office and is now the judge. Let's see. So
he's also a Bluetooth headset person.
Yeah, you think so? What does that mean?
Like he wears a Bluetooth headset while he was like earpiece while he was like interrupting the mayoral debate.
Oh, I got you. He has like a hands-free earpiece on him at all times.
Yeah, he like stormed the mayoral debate, and I remember watching it and being like, "Oh shit, is he about to shoot somebody?"
And turns out, no, he was just there to advocate
To be heard, get
zealously.
his platforms to the people.
Uh,
A little
I mean,
grassroots campaigning.
it's very crazy. We'll find out next time how he's connected to this
Yeah,
case. Hopefully,
let's please revisit that one once we find out a little more information. It's that really. I
that
was
name is
interested in
interesting.
that just because of the scumbaggery element, but now I'm intrigued on a whole new level. Like, how does he come into play?
Well, and I think when we get the response from the defendant, we'll know more on exactly what their position is, why maybe they didn't pay. Also, we'll probably get that in the response because that's not something the plaintiff's going to bring up. They're going to need to make their
What
own
would you
argument.
argue? Why he
Maybe
didn't pay?
that
Say the flower was molded.
Yeah, exactly. The product didn't meet whatever standard that we imagined on the unwritten part of that note
Or it didn't
contract.
pass. It didn't pass lab testing or something, and
I would say right after we got done, right before we put that contract to Notepad, we had an elaborate discussion about how high my bar is on product quality that he's required to deliver.
yeah, it's in the dirt for contractual agreements, but it's like I set it really high for how I want my flower to look.
No, ask him. Ask him if he doesn't have my spit on his hand from right before when that was signed. Do a DNA
Are
test
we
on his hand.
blood brothers or are we not blood brothers?
Test him. He's got the same STDs that I do now. Test his blood. See if he doesn't have Hep C.
You know that we were at that urinal together.
That glory hole. He was the one. He was the one there with Tony on the other side of
British Columbia in February.
Turns out he was the one in the glory hole that Tony was interviewing for that article earlier, and he had scraped his dick on the side of it, and
oof.
That's his argument. That's his argument for how he shared blood.
The Sears changing room that I decided to bring a hole saw to.
That'll be Chafin's defense on the other side, where they'll say, no. There's a reason why we share blood, and it's not shaking hands. Okay,
dude.
There was
as a business owner right now, you got to be hyper vigilant. Make sure you don't see any strange men taking power tools into your bathroom so they can drill a glory hole.
And I don't want to, gender discriminate or anything. It doesn't have to be men. There could be women. There's all kinds of women that are getting into subcontracting work and stuff like that. They could be, involved in setting up the logistics for something like that.
I love this video on their website.
Yeah. So we went to check out the Helix Extracts website. I tried to pull.
If they're growing, if they've got an operation like this, why are they buying 5 pounds or 5,000 pounds of weed from somebody?
Well, here we're at their home. And when you go to their home, it's interesting. What Sean's talking about is they show Helix Extracts, a very scenic view over trees with pruners. And it looks like a giant outdoor grow that we heard Crow Creek talking about having, but they didn't. Maybe they just clean trucks and planting machines. Maybe that's their guy up there servicing the equipment for this grow operation.
Honestly, this doesn't even look like Oklahoma.
I don't know. It's helixextract.co/home is where we're looking at. They have, just to really lay out how elaborate their website is. They have indica that you can't click on, indica hybrid that you can't click on, sativa hybrid that you can't click on, and sativa also unclickable. But they do sell merch at the bottom.
I really hate how they ordered that.
They
Like,
won something at the Cannabis Cup,
okay.
I guess.
I drove by the Cannabis Cup and was like, Jesus, I'm not gonna abandon my car like it's Woodstock and just walk for 3 miles.
I
So I
think
didn't go.
we can check out. They have products and lab results, and then they have testimonials. They have about us. Let's look at about us. You know,
Please.
quote just to see if it matches up with the petition.
Dude, it's very not compassionate to drive another small business person out of business by withholding $3.2 million from them.
Maybe they're being compassionate by protecting the general public from the health concerns created by a subpar product. So what they say is quality, compassionate care. One, our company was established to provide quality medicine with compassion and convenience. Our mission is to provide an alternative, natural way of healing without using industrialized pharmaceuticals. Cannabis and healing. We offer a broad array of strains, as referenced above, to address different illnesses and injuries. Contact us, and our team will assist you in choosing the right strain for your personal therapeutic needs. You have 4 options. Our promise to you: we walk the extra mile in order to provide patients with the highest level of quality care, unless that mile involves us taking the payment back to our grow. I think you're muted. Yeah, you are.
I
You're
said
good.
they'll go the extra mile, including allegedly defrauding grower.
Right? They not only will they just do
Just
regular
scribble
fraud,
out business contracts.
we will recklessly disregard the rights of our partners and or act intentionally and with malice towards you.
Yeah. There's a water ring on their contract from where he set his beer.
Yeah, I think it was probably his bong is what it was.
More than likely.
His water pipe.
I love how like that's my favorite thing growers do is like, all right, let's put him in a lab coat and have him walk through all this weed. I grow weed. Never once have I thrown a lab coat on to do it.
No?
No. I feel like the
Well,
lab coat in that instance is like like remember the Stanford experiment?
mhm.
You know,
Is that
like
just
it's
so that the plants will know that they're supposed to listen to you?
or the Milgram like experiment. Like it's like that's literally the Milgram one. It's someone in a lab coat. They are, you know, like appealing to authority.
Who are you making torture in your lab coat?
I don't know. I just
That's the
hate when I
deal. You
see.
you need to use your position of authority that's created by the lab coat
Yeah,
in
maybe
order
I
to
should get a
force
lab
people to
coat.
do things as followers, and
I
then you'd
used
be
to work in a
Milgram-esque,
lab, and in the lab coat, I will tell you, I did feel a bit more wieldy and powerful.
right? You can walk up to the plants and be like, fertilizer.
They'll listen to you. You
Do
can
it.
tell. You can tell the
Pollinate.
spider mites to
Pollinate
go
it.
away, and they'll listen to you. The spider mites will shock their friends to death. So
Shove off. Shove off right now. If you say it in an English accent, you get extra cooperation.
exactly.
So that's some of the basics of Helix. It's saying that Helix is a licensed medical marijuana grower and processor for all of Oklahoma on here. So I guess they do grows. That's all they have about them, though, is those 3 core, uh, you know, I guess
And
principles.
their promise is very vague. Our promise to you is that we'll do this vague ass shit. We'll walk the extra mile. Here's a platitude. We promise.
We have quality, we have compassion, we make promises, and we have 4 strains.
Hey, I trust them more than I do Moon Mix.
We'll get into that. We have that case coming up. I don't know if it's going to be next week, but we definitely have that one broke down. That we're going to do an elaborate episode on that case and fast labs and residency requirements on some of the states that are challenging Oklahoma.
Well, if you want to talk to the guy that made all of Moon Mix's extracts, I could get him on the show. He's a friend.
You know a guy?
Well, I know the guy.
Okay. We have
Mark
some
Norman. I think this guy made up a name. He just was like, all right, here's my favorite comedian.
minus the D.
Oh yeah, I'm wrong.
No, you're not. I'm saying he lifted it from Mark Norman and just deleted the D, and he's like, no, it's Mark Norman.
I hear
Yeah, he's from
fraud, and
New
it just like
Orleans.
paints everything for me. Like I'm like, oh, everything is a lie now.
I was looking for Helix Extracts or Curl Creek Cannabis's testimonial on here, and I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Oh yeah, I
You
doubt.
know,
I just read, pretty lengthy testimonial.
here at Helix, we believe in our products and how they help the medical marijuana community. Hearing from our patients is what keeps us motivated to making the best distilled cannabis oil cartridges and dab syringes. Here are just a few of the many testimonials we are lucky enough to receive and be able to share. It's truly a wonderful thing to witness the healing powers of medical marijuana.
It truly is.
It's
So
only the funny thing is that it's only consumers that are providing testimonials, which I guess makes sense. But those aren't the people that they're doing business with directly. Like you can't go directly to Helix Extracts for shit. They're not a
no,
dispensary. The
no
people that they do business with are
dispensary owner.
growers and processors and dispensary owners.
Well, they're the
And
processor.
I know, but they also have a grow. So technically they could partner with processors if there was like
Mm,
an overflow that they couldn't handle or something.
true that.
But that's what I'm imagining happen with Curl Creek, because if Helix has a grow, the reason that they'd be partnering to purchase 5,000 pounds, would possibly be because they're promising to make cartridges and they don't have enough flower from their grow to be able to process. So they purchased that to try to fulfill the contract that they had to
Yeah.
a dispensary or whoever they're wholesaling to. That's what I'm imagining. But there's definitely no testimonials from any wholesale or commercial partners on here.
Yeah, I would like to know. I don't know. I mean, like, I do know people like them, like the carts. I, I'm not a huge cart.
These testimonials look like what are those like evangelical
Yes,
preachers,
faith healers and like
faith
the
healers.
prosperity preachers,
They've healed
like
the
Benny
formerly
Hinn.
blind, those who have suffered broken necks, painful nerve disease,
Get up out
and
of your chair, sister. Walk, walk. Like,
some things that are more mild, like osteoarthritis.
in
Some things
Jesus'
aren't as
name.
serious. We heal blind people and people with arthritis. We
Yep,
don't
lepers.
discriminate.
I had leprosy and my nose fell off. And
I,
I started vaping your cart and my nose grew back.
yeah, I got to see people again because
Now
they
I
weren't
can leave the
weirded out by
leper
my presence
colony
anymore. Even my son has
and go
begun to
live on
come
the
around
big
me
island.
without the, that glimmer of fear in his eye that he used to have anytime he'd come near his papa.
Our son Lazarus died, and we shotgunned your vape extract into his lungs, and he rose from the dead.
Yeah, and actually multiplied. We now have Lazarus 2. He has a weird distant stare and he won't come inside anytime during the day. It's very odd.
I was out with a bunch of my buddies, and I only had 2 loaves of bread and a fish, and I smoked your extract, and then I fed 5,000 people.
I like how they go from I feel like they had a small sample size on the testimonials here because they go from this first one where it goes, this is a blind person, formerly blind.
Formerly blind, literally heals the blind.
Last
She talks
Saturday.
about the film that was on her eye that
Oh,
was on
I'm gonna
her
break it down.
head. Okay, please.
I'm gonna read it as Sheila. Last Saturday, I started seeing colors very vividly throughout the day. I was seeing blobs of shapes and objects. I woke the next morning and I could see more blobs and colors and shapes. After I was ready for church, I thought, what if I put on my glasses? That might help. I can see. I can see.
It's
I can
like,
see, y'all.
did she just get
I went to
stoned
the
and lose her
retina
glasses?
specialist yesterday with my glasses. Wait, I went to the retina specialist yesterday with my glasses. I'm reading at 20/60. My pressure's at 20. It's like a going to the car, going to the Jiffy Lube.
Yeah,
I have less floaters, and there was a film across the middle of my eye that is no longer there. It's
that makes me
disappeared.
gag.
It's just less floaters. Sounds like I'm talking about Sugar,
Floaters are
my golden doodle
protein.
that I have to clean out her eye boogers every day. I feel
Yeah,
like you have to clean
no,
out Sheila's eye boogies every day.
floaters are like these little protein buildups that like will pass in front of your retina and like block light out, and it looks like there's like a
Little
black
amoeba growing, like little hair animals, like on your. I
or
know what they
something.
look
Yeah,
like for
yeah,
sure, but I'm thinking with the way she's describing it is that she used to wake up with like eye infection eyes every morning
yeah,
with like
yeah.
sleepers and like eye goop and
Just
stuff.
gunk out of
And
film.
she goes, I have less floaters, and there was a film across the middle of my eye that's no longer there. The eye doctor was surprised, amazed, and hopeful. Not in that order. I've been crying happy tears on and off that are floater free, looking at everything that I can, just soaking it all in. Miracles do happen thanks to Helix extracts. And I can see, I don't know if blind is the proper way to describe her
She said
condition.
like formerly lost
Slightly
glasses,
distorted.
lost her glasses because she got too
And
stoned. And then once she put her glasses back on, none of that like had anything to do with the extract. Like she's crediting her putting her glasses on with everything.
I think what might have happened is she smoked the extract, lost her glasses, and then got high, found her glasses again, and then thought that her regaining her vision was because of all of the concentrate use.
All of these testimonials sound like they used the product like a lot right before they decided to fire off these emails.
So, and I feel like
Like kind
Helix
of
sent an
disjointed.
email. You think Helix sent emails back to them saying, "Can you? Do you mind if we kind of tweak the subject line a little bit?"
Or just the
Because
subject verb agreement. I'm sure they had to be like, it all has to be in one tense. Like it can't be like last Saturday I started and then now like go to like a different tense halfway through it.
see, I think what happened is like the one that Sheila sent in. The text of it was identical, but the title wasn't formally blind when she sent it in. It was, I love your weed, and I found my glasses the other day, and it helped my cloudy floater eyes. And they were like, "Can we? Do you mind if we tweak that a little? I got something that I think kind of better describes your condition. What if we call you formerly blind?"
Yeah, and suffered from broken neck.
That's Rick. We
And
can go to Rick. You want to read Rick's? You can be Rick.
I just want to thank you. Giving me new hope. I broke my neck in 1999. 2 new surgeries, constant pain. Vaping your oil helps me more than anything. Got off pain meds. Grateful for new hope and far less pain in my life. First of all, I smoke weed and I've suffered a traumatic injury where I had to get on like real opiates for a little while. I've got a metal collarbone. Not even similar in terms of pain management, but whatever. That's just me.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to Rick and
Yeah,
his
Rick.
broken neck.
I broke my collarbone, not my neck.
Broken writing style.
Yeah, disjointed. 2 surgeries, constant pain. Making your oil last me more than anything.
That's the most
Got off pain meds.
masculine writing style I've ever seen. Like
Well,
compared to
no, he just
Sheila.
like doesn't use a subject. It's like
That's what I'm saying.
all
Compared to
it's
Sheila's
implied
like
subject.
flourished writing above about her regaining her sight, and you listen to Rick how he snapped his neck. He's like, broke my neck. Surgeries, constant pain, death, on the verge of death. I was on drugs. I'm off drugs. Happy, love your drugs. Bye.
Dude, if you break your neck and almost die, like you see that life is too short to be throwing subjects into your sentences.
Right?
Like, I'll let you figure out who I'm talking about.
I think he was sitting at his desk and he had a plan to write like a really elaborate testimonial. And he started going. And by the time he was halfway through the first sentence, his neck started hurting him from looking down at the screen while he was typing. And he just had to speed it up and
Yeah.
get
Oh
out of
yeah.
there.
He's like, never mind. I'm doing it from feel.
Okay, so this next
Oh
one,
man,
is Mark Normand.
I feel
Do you want
bad for
to
nerve pain people.
do this one, or do you want to do John D?
Oh yeah, I want to do the last one.
Okay, I'll take Mark Normand. Oh, I have the most painful nerve disease known, RSD, CRPS. After 17 years of every opioid known, I took myself off of them. Heavily addicted. Started using medical marijuana. I tried all vape carts. Helix is awesome. I have to have legitimate medicine, and Helix is it. Please keep up the great work. Your product truly saves people's lives. I think he's, probably referring to the path he was on before he got the cartridge.
Oh yeah, that's really crazy. I just read about CRPS. So it is complex regional pain syndrome.
Okay, not like what Snoop Dogg used to be involved with.
Yeah, no. And I am not a doctor, but it sounds like it needs to be studied a little more.
Is that like electrosensitivity, or
I don't think it's quite that bad. I think they're definitely
not that
experiencing pain,
misunderstood?
but it may be psychosomatic. But it is linked to injury. But it's crazy. It's like the pain, or it typically develops after an injury or a surgery, a stroke, or a heart attack. The pain is out of proportion to the severity of the initial injury. So imagine like breaking your arm and then a month or 2 months after it's like healed, it starts to feel like your arm's on fire or something. Like worse than the break.
I bet you're treated so poorly, like the boy who
It's
cried
drug
wolf.
seeking behavior.
Like months after your injury, you're like, but
yeah.
it hurts so bad now. It hurts like
Oh,
it's like stings.
it hurts
Ooh,
worse.
ooh, did you feel that? Ooh, it hurt.
Ooh, give me more of those pills. Give me.
I'll just take weed. I'll just take weed. It's fine. Just give me weed.
That's fine.
Whatever.
Give me weed.
But I'm gonna kill myself if I don't get it. I know that for
Dude,
sure.
I mean, chronic pain is no joke, but we really fucked ourselves in America.
But this is pretty funny.
By treating pain with opioids instead of telling people, hey, you're going to have to suck it up a little bit. Life is pain. Life is suffering. Maybe don't skydive anymore.
Right? We don't know. He didn't tell us how he got the injury, which might give us more insight.
Here's an naproxen.
What he's going through. Rick at least broke down the injury that created it, if this is something that's caused by injury. And thanks to Rick for that.
Yeah, that's
why don't you lay out old John D?
John D. I have severe osteoarthritis in my right shoulder. I recently had cartilage and bone spurs removed from that area. Yikes. I use Helix for pain management and sleeping aid. I keep a cartridge with me at all times. Pain pill free. It also has helped with my scoliosis and back pain. It straightens his spine, for Christ's sake.
All the things that he listed on his application.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, oh yeah, and it helped the scoliosis. Babe, what did I put on? And back pain, scoliosis and back pain. It also helped with scoliosis and back pain. She's like, honey, you didn't even mention osteoarthritis on your application. You need to at least say something about the scoliosis and back pain that you applied for.
Bone spurs. Yikes.
Yeah, isn't that how Trump got out of the wars?
Allegedly.
He should have just smoked some weed and sucked it up.
He got 5 deferments, which is pretty crazy.
All from bone spurs.
He should have just signed up as a conscientious objector and become a cook or something like a decent person does. I registered for the draft at 18. I registered as a conscientious objector. And if drafted, I would gladly go do some shit that didn't involve me shooting a guy in the desert on a lie.
Yeah, but what if you had bone spurs? Let's look up bone spurs. Let's see what that's all about.
They're very painful.
I'm sure that's what they'll say. Very common. Let's see. Symptoms: mild pain, maybe chronic or intermittent, swelling. Causes: bone spurs are caused when the body tries to add more bone tissue to fix a damaged bone. It occurs at the site of injury of a joint or tendon. It is commonly associated with conditions like arthritis that damage the cushioning between joints.
Damn, I think I have bone spurs in my knee then.
What's the best treatment? What do you think? Bing?
Getting in
Why is
there
it
with
always...
like a melon baller and scraping them out.
Yeah, I think that's what it says. Let's see.
Yeah. Or a Dremel rotary tool and shaving them down.
Medicine, rest, physical therapy, and in severe cases, surgery. So, I mean, I guess
People hate getting cut open.
what's the recovery time?
6
If
to
you
8
get them
weeks.
removed. Take ample
Probably
rest
depends on
after the
where.
surgery. Range 10 days to a few weeks. You know, if he would have had that done, you could have at least made it to the next war.
Dude, he could have been in Saigon by April, way before it became Ho Chi Minh City.
You know,
Maybe he could have helped.
bone spur free, sprinting around all spry and shit. Maybe that's why he settled into that gouty body
Golden toilet.
style that he
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
because of his
Very
spurs.
regal.
I think it's extra regal to not have it taken care of and just be like, no.
Oh, it's like gout. The disease
I
of
know.
kings.
It'd be funny if, just like bone spurs, it said on here that gout could be removed by surgery and healed within 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. And kings are just like, who has the time in between fatty
I'll
fish
die like a French
and
king.
pig? I mean, if you can get the surgeons in here into my feasting hall, I suppose I could think about it.
I suppose I could be bothered.
I just don't like leaving my table. My concubine always get frustrated when I leave. So those are the testimonials. We got a good sense of everything they're about, I think, through there.
Yeah.
Here's their strains. Looks like they're going to break it down a little bit more.
Oh, they actually tell us what they're growing.
Yeah. I don't know if these are what they're growing or just their, I guess some of it has to be, but we don't know if it all is, right? So it's saying our strain-specific cartridges contain terpenes that synergize with the plant's cannabinoid compounds to enhance overall effects and therapeutic benefits. All cartridges are 100% free of propylene glycol and any other carriers.
Man, I used to have to deal with polypropylene glycol every day. I used to climb into a tank that was like the size of two above ground pools stacked on top of each other, and have to clean it out and then refill it with polypropylene glycol from a giant truck that came once a month.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Tyler Durden in Fight Club, having flashbacks of like going into the fat reserve?
No, I used to work at the ice pack factory, Ice Pakistan.
So that's what they use in the ice packs is
polypropylene glycol and this like silica gel stuff.
Okay.
Like I think it's like a gram to a liter ratio. Now you guys can make your own ice pack.
So they say all their cartridges are 100% free of propylene glycol and or any other carriers. Our dab syringes are also available as pure cannabinoid dabs with no terps. All dab syringes are 100% food safe too. So they have a couple of flavors. I know my favorite I always go to is the straight sativa. What's your go-to? Your indica man?
Yeah, yeah, I'm an indica guy.
I like green crack.
I like to
Only kind of crack I'm into.
Turn off, not turn on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what Charity prefers too. She's that same way.
I feel like
I
my
like to.
brain's already in circus mode, and if I could slow that down just a little bit, I'm
So that
comfortable.
they have their testing down here. Which one of these strains on the indica is your favorite? They have Berry White, Bubblegum OG, Granddaddy Perp, Kosher Kush, Purple Hindu Kush, Tahoe OG, Watermelon OG, and of course White Tahoe cookies.
I mean, I like the kosher kush. I've actually had like I'm not a huge pen guy, but I have had their kosher kush cartridge, and I will say it is good.
Okay, I like
But I also think things taste better when they're free, and like even
for
though it
sure.
wasn't free to me, knowing that the weed was free to them makes maybe that's where it goes.
Right now that we know that in
Or
retrospect.
cost them $30,000 for 5,000 pounds. That is a deal.
So it looks like they have their testing highest purity content in Oklahoma. So these are from Fast Labs. Helix extract is committed to quality over quantity. That's why each strain and batch is thoroughly tested at Fast Laboratories. I think they should revise this. Based on information provided by the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority via House Bill 2612, all of our products go through full panel testing to ensure patient safety. That might not be
Dude,
the case, actually.
you think
Full
Fast
panel
Labs will?
testing includes cannabinoid profile, terpenoid profile, residual solvent profile, pesticides profile, mycotoxin profile, heavy metals, and microbiological profile. And we're going to go over next week on our deep dive into the cases on
Yeah,
exactly which one of these profiles they failed to actually test and just fraudulently said that they did
yeah, they're
test,
having their own problems. Even if they did, like,
right?
file an amicus brief in favor of the Helix or something, in Helix's case, I doubt it'll have any weight with the judge.
Right? They might not be a big fan. They have testing though, which is interesting. So from Fast Labs, it's testing at 90.8%. I wonder if they were just printing these off and they're just like, yeah, whatever,
Dude, they were
90.8.
just throwing darts at a like. We can get into that next week. Like, let's
I
not.
know.
But
It's
yeah, I
crazy.
think they were just throwing darts at a wall full of numbers. And they're like, all right, this one's 37.
You feel bad though for the companies like this that are, well, maybe not this particular company, but companies like this
Yeah, no, definitely
that,
not.
have basically based their reputation on their website on
Off of
their
a company that
reliance on
ends up
Fast Labs.
being unreliable.
Each strain and batch is thoroughly tested through Fast Labs. I mean, when they test it, which has
Like
become a
you can
rarity.
download. I mean, like it does give
Great transparency. Not
it
that
gives
there's
the
anything to
illusion of
see on the other side.
transparency. But
No, you can
then when
see
I
right
know that
through it.
like the stuff that the information I'm receiving is suspect
There's no
at best.
illusion. They're very transparent. You can see right through them.
Yeah, I don't really trust any of the fast lab results. I wish I did, you know,
Right?
which is another reason I've kind of until seed to sale is implemented, and I know that people aren't just like bootlegging shit that failed out of Oregon and California into the state. I'm not really interested in the cartridges. The
I know it's a
convenience of it
hard.
isn't like now I can smell like weed and not go to jail, so I don't give a shit. Like the incognito mode of the having the vape pen was the only appeal to me prior to legalization.
And right
And
now, the risk
now
of
that
that
I have a card in my pocket that says, "Hey, this guy can smell like weed all the time," I'm not paranoid about
exactly.
it. I'd rather smoke a joint.
Uh, we can
And
look
I've
at
never
their
smoked a
event.
joint and gotten uncomfortably high. But I will hit
No,
that pen like I hit my jewel and then be like, God damn it, I had shit to do. Now I have to lay here and turn on a movie that makes me feel okay so I don't have a heart attack. I'm gonna watch The Big Lebowski and just chill the fuck out.
right. So that's kind of a look at what's going on there. We're going to follow it up with the actual response
We
on
should go
that
to the
case.
Cowboy Cup and ask them about it.
I think it's already passed, right? No, that's this fall.
No, it's in December.
Okay, so at the Tumbleweed Dance Hall all day. I'm sure social distancing guidelines are followed. They don't mention it. I don't think. Let's see. Event will be held as an 18 and over 2-day event for patients and non-patients. Come out for one day or the entire weekend. We will have live music, food trucks, an art exhibit, and alcohol will be available for purchase for persons 21 and over. We will have vendors from several areas of agriculture and medical cannabis, as well as seminars on several industry topics. We will have lots of food and drinks and warm places to relax and listen to great Oklahoma bands. Check out more at cowboycup.com. So I wonder, I guess we can check out cowboycup.com, see what that's all about. Uh-oh, this looks like Firefest, the way that they set the deal up.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to show up there, and it's just going to be an
It
island.
shows you nothing, but it's like 5 tickets.
Free tickets. This does feel like it's too good to be true. Like we're just trying to get people to come. We just want people to come. It's just going to be like, Bella Hadid and some simple people, Garth Brooks.
I wish
Ariana Grande, Clint Black. They're trying to get a real wide base.
Yeah, all of your favorite Instagram models will be there looking to suck your dick.
Van Morrison, Elvis Presley.
Yeah, we dug him up, folks. And we're going to prop him up on stage. The king is back.
And while we're doing it, we're going to get John Wayne.
Oh, poor John Wayne. John Wayne does not want to come back.
Speaking of smoking problems,
John Wayne
they should have done some better testing. I wonder if the cigarette companies had been kind of falsifying some of their test results, if you know what I mean.
If John Wayne came back tomorrow, he would get canceled the next day. So he's lucky to have died far before the internet and people could find out what John Wayne was really like, and that he was only like 5'7" and his name was like Marion.
Yeah, not the Duke. He wasn't born the Duke.
Yeah, his name was not John Wayne.
John the Duke Wayne, born
when
and
I
raised.
Put my foot in John Wayne's boot print when we lived in California. When the first time we went to Hollywood and saw like the Walk of Fame, I was like, gotta find John Wayne, go to Mann's Chinese Theater, find his spot, put my hand over his hand and my feet over his feet. He was like a tiny man. Like I was like 14.
And I stood there and I go, I've dominated you. I've now dominated you, John Wayne.
I'm bigger than you. How is this a thing?
You lie in my shadow, John Wayne.
I could be, misrepresenting his size. Hold on.
Yeah, dude, John Wayne's 6'4".
There's no way John Wayne was 6'4".
He had baby hands. We're getting some independent consulting.
My wife is yelling in the other room that he was 6'4".
Is she? I didn't even notice. Let's see. Can we get some specs on him? Can we get bust size and?
I mean, she says he's 6'4", but I think that is.
Where's his inseam? They're not giving any stats.
She and I've had this argument before, and I think she won. I could be wrong.
How tall is John Wayne?
Most sources cite him as 6'4". Some say he was shorter and wore lifts, but others, that's the one. I'm one of those.
That's Sean.
Yeah,
Sean's the some that are referenced.
6'5" or 6'6".
No, he was 6'4". He wore 2-inch lifts to achieve that 6'6" on-screen towering effect. But he was still.
Come in here if you want to yell. No one can. We can't.
I can hear. I can. We're hearing. Okay, we got that loud and clear. We got that loud and clear. So, turns out he just had baby hands and baby feet. He was a giant man with baby hands and baby feet. So you just put your big size 16 over his foot and hands, and he basically disappeared from Hollywood.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 170. I just don't believe that at all.
Really?
No, I don't.
What about that picture right there? You think he's
I have
170? You think he's 170 or 175 here?
I think he's like 240.
I think Clint Eastwood might be 170.
Okay, tell me how tall Clint Eastwood is.
He's probably 6'2".
He's taller than me? They say he's 6'4". Okay, maybe John Wayne is tall. But his feet are small, his hands are small. Or smaller than mine, at least. And I'm only 6'1".
Right? 6'4" also, yeah.
My dad's 6'4".
The only person taller than John Wayne got.
You sure he's not like 5'9"? You're kind of
Douglas?
Yeah, he's the one that's matching. Him and Sandra Locke are the ones that are matching your height description from earlier.
Yeah, totally.
More the 5'4" to 5'9" range with those baby hands.
Well, if Clint Eastwood is 6'4", and that picture you showed me, John Wayne was clearly taller, but he wore lifts.
Only in the last part of his career when he started getting
What an interesting group of people to compare their heights.
Who the fuck? Why?
This thing.
The shortest little Moroccan guy that was in the movie with Marlon Brando about the island of Dr. Moreau.
Island of Dr. Moreau. Yeah, his most successful experiment. He became his personal assistant.
He loves that guy.
So on here they got that little cat who's towering in at
1.5 feet.
1 foot 0.1 or 0.5. And then you got Meryl Streep in at what looks like 5'5", 5'6".
Well, they don't show you because Clint Eastwood's
big old head.
The numbers other than 8 feet and 4 feet.
But that's what's funny about it is the whole thing is titled "How Tall is Clint Eastwood?" Height comparison, and maybe it's
video. Like, why do you need a video of that? Like, all right, clearly you can see this midget here. I mean, this little person. Dwarf.
He would be very offended. So they got
dwarf. I feel like little person sounds way more diminutive.
So they have the Guinness World Record holders for the tallest and shortest people on here, and along with them, in order to determine how tall Clint Eastwood is, they put Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep, just to give you a sense of his height. For some reason.
And like a giant that I don't readily recognize. Like, at least put Andre the Giant. Like,
no, I think these are the people that hold the record for the largest and shortest man.
Okay. It's like, it's more to show their height than. Okay.
Yeah, it's like his height in reference to them, and then I guess these are the two average heights of Hollywood. Maybe, hopefully,
I think the average height of Hollywood is pretty short.
Yeah, but I think Robert De Niro is probably like 5'9" or 5'10" or something. That's probably 6 foot right there.
Put Tom Cruise on a fucking keychain, carry him around.
Yeah, they were going to use him, but they decided on Meryl Streep instead.
Yeah, he's 5'7". That's not super short, actually.
That's what she is. I think she's probably like 5'6".
Yeah, that's not short. What is short for a man? 5'7" is like what everyone was in like the 20s.
Probably 5'4" would be short for a man, or something below 5'6".
The average height of men is 5'7".
That's what I was thinking. 5'6" and below would be starting to eliminate yourself from some women's dating pools. Is when
a man who is 5'3" or less may be considered short.
Yeah, but I think that's maybe for men's perspectives. Women start determining that men are short at a lot higher height, like more like that 5'5", 5'6", maybe even 5'7" and 8". They're like, yeah, but you're kind of short.
Totally, and then they take that rejection and go to 4chan.
Right.
Start
a
men's rights organization. Like, God damn it, these hoes won't respect me.
So, I think I'm not sure exactly how we got to Clint Eastwood and the Duke.
I don't know.
From Fast Labs.
I was maligning the Duke.
Oh, we were talking about smoking cigarettes and how the cigarettes should have been tested better.
Yeah, and he only had one lung when he was filming some of his best movies.
Really?
Yeah, dude. In between takes, he'd be like sucking oxygen and would not
Maybe
quit
that's
smoking
why he.
cigarettes.
Maybe that's why he weighed that little. He dropped that 40-pound tar-laden lung.
That tarry lung, yeah, was quite that's
Disturbing.
horrible.
Yeah, disturbing thought. So Cowboy Cup we were glancing at. Looks like they have the competitors that are still signing up. It's going to be at the Tumbleweed Dance Hall in Stillwater, December 4th, 5th, 2020. So I don't know. I think we're going to be there, I guess, right?
I mean, we might as well. I'll mask up and go to this.
I wonder if it's still going on, if Helix was the one putting it on.
I'll bring a field recorder and we can interview some people at it.
We could do that.
Eric has a really good one. I can see if I can borrow it from him.
So when I was looking at this idea, like looking at the topic and stuff, it made me wonder, because we're talking about commercial growers and processors and the commercial licenses provided through the OMMA. It made me wonder who all is allowed to do wholesale, because you always hear people talking about doing like brokering deals and being like a weed broker, where essentially you're middlemaning the wholesale, market between the commercial entities. Mm-hmm. And it's not something that's set out as a license that you can get. It seems like you kind of have to have one of the other commercial licenses in order to be able to sell wholesale.
Yeah. Most certainly you have to, but I would add, I know we looked at the transporter's license, but I think the transporters can kind of act as a middleman in the wholesale as well.
It talks more about them negotiating the contracts for the common carrier.
If that's not the case, I know some people that are not doing it per the letter of the law.
Yeah, I don't think that, because there's no license you can get as a broker, and because it says that only growers and processors are allowed to sell to dispensaries, essentially, that you'd have to be a grower or a processor if you were going to get into the brokering business, in which case you could do it. You could act as other people's agents, because you're licensed and you are permitted to do that. But I pulled up.
We should just get a grower license, but not grow anything and just middleman transactions.
You could do that. I think because of the requirements for the commercial license, you would have to have a physical location, but it would probably, in appearance, be more like a common carrier warehouse facility or office for like distribution and that type of deal.
See, this is where our law can be. This is the gray area where people are going to start, putting some force and leverage. Like in Colorado, for example, they had initially caretakers, like a caretaker system, and they didn't really put a number on how many plants you could have per patient, like the caregiver. And so people started growing like whole fucking warehouses full of weed, giving their 500 patients or whatever 2 ounces a month, and then shipping everything to Minnesota and Texas and places like that.
They were talking about how unique it is in Oklahoma and some of the other states to not have limits on your personal, like on your caregiver grow, the way that other states do. And it's because they haven't seen the market flush itself out and see what people do with that gray area.
Our home growing is better. Like I can grow more plants, yield more than any other state. Like if I were living in California, or Colorado, I don't have the freedom to grow like I do at my house.
I mean,
or at least
it's
like
pretty
the
nice
number of plants that I can have. Having 2 licenses in one house, like a wife with one, myself having one, like It's pretty decent. We can grow more than we could possibly use in a year.
Mm-hmm.
They problem. I
in-
guess they're expecting that it's not going to be enforced because if everybody's growing more than they can consume, so that's what they set the limit at.
Well, that's why they end up burning a bunch of weed in Oregon, but I'll just throw it in a vac seal bag and throw it in the safe.
Well, but we don't have those regulations like Oregon does, so.
So I pulled up because I was curious about brokers.
They can't sell
I
it
just
fast enough
searched
for you.
online to see what states did have brokers, like where you could get licensed to do it. And I pulled up California, this place called Cannabis Business Brokers and it's cannabis-brokers.com.
What a kick in the nuts.
It looks like out in California, they have cannabis business and real estate brokers, and they have their license number on there. So I'm supposing that that's what they're licensed for out there.
Really?
But they have a couple of different areas that they broker. They broker retail, delivery, cultivation, and manufacturing. So they'll do all of the contract brokering. They'll do the delivery, so some of that common carrier stuff.
Yeah.
They'll do cultivation. So it looks like they set up grows too.
Okay.
And they'll set them up in order to get them ready to sell.
Oh, so it's like they will sell you a turnkey pot operation, like buying a weed laundromat.
Okay. I think I can hear you now. So manufacturing is the other side. So I guess that would be processing for them. But they set up all kinds of opportunities. They say they have opportunities by clicking the states below. They'll set them out, and they have different business opportunities in each state, but also have attractive private off-market listings, pocket listings for California, Arizona, Nevada, and elsewhere. And it looks like you can reach out per place, but we'll check out generally about them real quick. Cannabis Business Brokers brings professional and licensed business brokerage services to buyers and sellers of cannabis businesses. The principals have over 50 years of mergers and acquisitions experience and many decades of experience in the cannabis and pharmaceutical industries. The result is that our clients receive the proper service and expertise needed to accomplish a transaction in a rapidly changing and complex industry. Whether it involves the purchase or sale of a dispensary, a non-store front delivery service, a cultivation facility, or a manufacturing operation. Careful and professional attention is paid to evaluation of the business and any real estate involved, marketing, negotiation, due diligence, document preparation, and closing. The principles of... I know, right?
My God.
They can do it all. But then they go over all their locations. Their main spots are California, Nevada, Arizona, and New York. But they have other spots. Oklahoma is one of them, which is why I was interested. So we can look at Oklahoma because I think they only have one. But they list a business on here that's for sale, essentially.
Yes, for $16.5 million.
Right?
A well-designed, large Oklahoma cultivation facility.
Break it
currently
down
under construction. It's here in Oklahoma City. Extremely well-designed and conceived. Fully vertical, state-of-the-art, licensed medical marijuana facility. The location includes an operating dispensary and an indoor grow. 28,000 square feet. Expandable is what they described the location as being. Like, so you could put another outbuilding out there or whatever. It's in its final stages of construction with an emphasis on quality and labor-saving designs throughout. The indoor grow area consists of a nursery, 2 separate bedrooms, and 18 individual flower rooms. Holy shit, you could be harvesting every week.
But it's partly under construction still, partly operational.
Well, once you get it going, you could stagger that grow out in 18 stages. And like, oh my God, dude, that's incredible.
But But you got to pay $16,500 for an under construction facility.
Well, yeah, that is true.
You know what I mean? It's like they got out from under it for some reason in the middle of, like, before
The
they
site
were
is
done with it.
expected to produce between 6,000 and 10,000 pounds of high-quality medical marijuana each year. At current wholesale prices, that is between $12.6 and $21 million in gross revenue the first year alone. This is a sale of an ongoing licensed business. Seller is open to a sale or lease of the real estate and creditworthy buyer note for part of the purchase price.
And then they
Man.
talk about the market.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. It would certainly be an investment if you didn't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it'd be a huge investment. So
Not
they
sure
talk
a
about
bank, and you can't get a bank to give you a loan, so you have to have like 16 million sitting around
you could
that
if
you're
you
going to
have
pay cash
collateral,
for. Yeah. Well,
like if you have
they
some
can't
business.
federally.
Past
They
authority.
can't fuck with you.
Well, it depends on what kind of bank it is. Depends on what their charter's about. Depends on if they're federally backed or not.
Yeah.
Some people are getting into it. Some equity firms.
Right.
But this place, you know, big facility. But I find it very interesting that they're transitioning before it's done. It says seller focuses on its expertise in project development, which I guess means they're not someone who operates it. They just build them and sell them.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. I would like to know.
Looks like we can contact Karen for more info. Karen Muller. Not Mueller, but Muller. So the other state that they have, we'll look at, you want to look at California or?
Yeah. Oh, dude, no, man. Nevada. I want to see
Nevada?
what weird desert grow facility they're trying to
None.
start.
They don't have any right now. It's a hot market.
Seems like a really bad place to grow weed.
Hot market. Hot. None in Arizona either. It's a warm market there. California. There we go.
It's a one-stop shop that might be a one-person shop.
Right. Central Coast Dispensary. Profitable, high gross, beautifully appointed. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. What that means. $8 million.
I know. What a bargain. Inventory million, established in 2018. A well-located and profitable retail dispensary provides delivery service, curbside pickup, in addition to a highly satisfying retail experience in a setting that is a feast for the eyes. Local area residents and tourists frequent this shop, which has a broad and organized product offering. Set in an environment of tasteful design and artistry, ample parking, and easy access off major thoroughfare, gross revenue for 2020 is projected at $8 million based on the current run rate through August 2020.
Man. Sounds like that 16 million. It's the same lady, Karen Muller.
I know. It must be
Mueller.
just her.
I'm too used to saying Muller now.
I know. That was my instinct too. More dispensaries. This one's less than $1 million. What a deal.
But Sagan's cooking steak, and I'm going to have to wrap up soon.
No, we're almost done. So this is kind of the last thing. Like we're not going to do the deep dive on history. We're going to do it next time. But this is the last stuff we were going to talk about. Are these facilities and kind of checking them out and seeing what they're about. They have a bunch. There's another one operating phase 1 city of a dispensary.
It seems as
Lots
though
of dispensaries.
Oklahoma is the better buy.
Between 1 and 10 million looks like the spread on these dispensaries. It's a delivery service, $2 million or $1 million delivery service in Oakland. Strong brand following. Huh. Interesting. Well, I don't know. What do you think?
$2 million.
I know.
I mean, if I were gonna purchase one, I would go with the Oklahoma facility. I think the market's better here. Way less
Saturated.
oversight, like licensing fees, and just like you pay less people to do business here than you have to there.
Look at this one. Curing product, patented and industry disruptive for $6.5 million. It's a patented curing solution that is currently in the marketplace and enjoying great success. Developed specifically by growers for growers to ensure quality flower never regresses. This solution has experienced continuous sales growth since inception. Humidity and temperature levels can be monitored regularly without the need to manually handle the product, minimizing the introduction of impurities and product damage from human contact.
I don't want to buy anything that they're spraying weird shit on.
Curing with this product improves taste and aroma while increasing potency and density and the shelf life of the flower. The device reduces the risk of product loss due to mold and other impurities common in traditional curing methods. The product container is placed horizontally on its side and stored on racks similar to wine or whiskey barrels, an efficient use of space which also eliminates the time-consuming chore of stacking and unstacking bins. Other product features reduce the risk of over-drying and aid in the identity and organization of different strains. The product comes in multiple sizes and can be effectively used by all growers, from small craft growers to industrial manufacturers. Numerous anecdotal industry and user reviews are available. High profit margins. In addition to the purchase price, a royalty will be put in place. No NDAs or POS required. Interesting. So they have products for sale on here too. That's crazy.
That is neat. Well, yeah, you're buying like the patent.
Yeah, on that one.
I wonder what it is.
That's what it is. It's for that
Well,
drying.
I mean, I wonder what he's, spraying on the weed.
I don't think it's about. It's a curing product. I don't think it's a spray. I think it's a container.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I think he patented this process of containing and separating the different strains for curing.
Oh, that's even strange. That's even cooler.
Yeah, it's worth more than any of the dispensaries are selling for. Even this cultivation and manufacturing facility is selling for less than that patented product.
It probably beats what I'm doing.
It's pretty crazy. Got a processing facility. Well, we'll check out more of this and the history of cannabis legalization next time. But before the cops get Sean, we're going to bounce out and let him get a steak real quick.
Jesus, I think there's a fire truck on my street.
Well, go put the fire out. I'm Carter.
I'm Sean.
And we'll talk to you next time.